We're live. Hello and welcome to the Global Star Party, the cloudy we bought too much equipment edition. I mean the Southern Night Sky edition. As you probably gathered from the glow behind me, I have clouds, and unfortunately so does the rest of the gang. It's the typical curse of this time of year. If you're in England, it's just wind and snow and rain. If you're in Canada, it's just snow and horses. And if you're anywhere else in the world, it's summertime. That means tropical storms and all sorts of fun. So, yeah, British weather and global weather. We'll blame global warming, even though most of the audience just went la 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 when it comes to global warming. So, welcome to the show. If you're wondering what you've stumbled into, this is the weekly edition of the Global Star Party, where we generally try and show live views of the night sky, or daytime sky, depending on the lack of clouds again. So I shall introduce the panel of crazy people that come and join me. We have, in deepest, darkest New Zealand, Paul.
Hello.
Hello. So, clouds?
Yes.
Yay! As you can tell, Paul is braving the terrible outdoors with his fancy gear all around him, above him, next to him. Seem to be well nestled in. Are you sure you're not in a Soyuz capsule?
Could be.
It kind of looks akin to that. You know, I like it. We also have Russell, who is in, well, Canada.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, so what time is it there, and are we clouded out?
7:03 a.m. and lots of clouds.
Lovely. So
70-kilometer-per-hour winds.
Just the light breeze then. Nice and gentle. And we also have bargain hunter Trevor.
Howdy, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, same here. Weather is humid and crappy.
Humid and crappy. Yeah.
There you go.
Ah, well,
welcome to Queensland.
Hey, I'll swap you any day. Any day I will swap you. You come and live in England, I'll live in Queensland. That's fine. It's not an issue, trust me. So yes, this is the party. Unfortunately, this is now the Global Cloud Party. But we do have some funky gear, some pictures, and just the knowledge. The knowledge we bring about the night sky and daytime sky when it's available to look at. So, well, Paul is a glowing yellow orb, because that's what Paul is. He's a glowing yellow orb. So, Paul, what are we looking at? And it's not a tangerine, I guess.
No. It's today's sun and hydrogen alpha.
Kind of looks like a tangerine, though. That's a nice photo. So this was today.
It was early this afternoon.
Well, it's not a very spotty sun at the moment. It's got some. I'm assuming that the two whitish bright sections there on the. I'm viewing it. It's on the left-hand side. I don't know about the audience. That's some activity there. Did any of those turn into flares at all? Do we know if there's been any activity there?
No, it's been pretty quiet this week.
Yeah. Yes, the sun is. I think past its solar maximum now. Is it still in it?
Yeah, we're on the downhill spiral now.
Well, I would still recommend to anyone, if you're interested in astronomy, get a solar telescope because it's beautiful. But I guess the sun is now going to get a bit more quiet. However, I am noticing on the right-hand side there, bottom right, there's a bit of a prominence there. That's quite the prominence.
There is.
Oh,
Yep,
look at that. That's huge. That is actually a pretty darn big prominence.
You probably fit 150 Earths in that.
152, give or take. That is quite the prominence. I mean, that's. Yeah, my sense of scale says that is a lot of Earths. Actually, that's huge. That must be quite spectacular at the eyepiece, or did you just use the camera?
Yeah, what's an eyepiece?
Yeah, I'm beginning to get that feeling as well. Like,
How long did this one last for, Paul?
This one's been around for a couple of days, I think.
Wow.
that's quite solid then, because normally they last about a day and a bit or so, but yeah, that is a pretty huge promise. Which is this? I'm going to sound very untechnical here. Is this the side that's rotating away from us or towards us?
That'll be on the rotating away side.
Yeah. So it's probably going to sink out of view before it actually dissipates then. Be kind of cool to watch. If you didn't have pesky clouds, that'd be a very cool one to like take a time lapse of. Nice view. I always love solar images. Paul knows this.
Yeah.
Darn you, Paul. But yeah, I mean, I've tried imaging the sun recently, and of course, it's ideally positioned for anyone in the southern hemisphere because it's high in the sky. Because you guys are enjoying summer right now, whereas us guys in the north, we're enjoying. I use the word enjoying loosely. It's winter time, so the sun is nice and low. Although we've got a really nice high moon in the sky at the moment, because everything's kind of flipped around now, so the moon's very high in the sky at night. But I don't like the moon; it gets in the way of deep sky stuff. And, yeah, it's a pretty quiet sun. Still,
This was from 2 days ago, and I think we're seeing that filament on the right there. There's a prominence there.
Ah, yes. Of course, yeah, because filaments are actually prominences, but just viewed, I suppose, front on rather than edge on. Not the other way around. It's nice. It's one of those things where I never get clear enough skies or enough time to time lapse these during moving. I've noticed actually on your YouTube channel you've got a few nice time lapses of the sun. How long do you? I mean, if you do a time lapse, I mean, how long do you try and get anything before you reckon you'll see some movement?
Well, that one there, I think, was only 40 minutes worth.
Nice, and that's a flare. That's got to be a flare, right?
Yep.
Look at that. I have yet to catch one. I love the way that you can actually see that shoot off the actual edge, the actual limb of the sun there. It's nice. So only 40 minutes.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that shows you how active the sun is. Gotta love the sun. And of course, Russell has white light set up for the sun. Trev, do you have any setup for the sun?
Do I? No. Unfortunately.
There's your next bargain to hunt down.
Yeah, well, now I've got the 80 mil, I'm just going to have to get all the extras for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Paul, you were saying earlier before we got into the show proper that you have an electric focuser on your scope. Does that work as well with solar imaging, or are you still eyeballing the solar imaging?
All solar's done by eyeball. I haven't found any program yet that'll accurately focus that.
I eyeball it too. Yay! At least I'm doing something right with the focuser. Now, I have to say, thinking about focus, one thing that really affects focusing, of course, is seeing conditions. For anyone that's new to astronomy, of course, seeing is I suppose, the effect of turbulence in our atmosphere. As the atmosphere wobbles around, it bends the light that's traveling through it, and it's like looking at an object through water, I suppose. Now, Paul has some kind of thingamajig, which I'll let him explain, that is helping him with seeing conditions. Not that he can actually control our atmosphere. If he could, I'm sure he'd never have clouds ever.
That's why we need adaptive optics software, something intelligent to do all the work for us.
Yeah, yeah. I would also enjoy firing a laser at the sky and monitoring that and scaring the doodah out of my neighbours. But now, go on then, Paul. Airy Lab. What's this all about?
Very low.
Yeah, there's just a little solar seeing monitor. So I'll find the graph for it in a minute. Basically, that just constantly monitors the sun and set it up so it only records when the seeing is nice and clear.
It's just fancy.
And there's not a nice and clear day. You can see that's up and down like a yo-yo.
Ah, darn you, technology. You'll say, so that basically tracks the seeing conditions, and then you were saying it only takes photos or footage when the seeing reaches a specific condition.
Yes, it's just set the level I want it to record at, and whenever it hits that, it'll record a short burst of frames.
So what are the downward peaks in that graph doing?
The ones that go right down to zero are clouds.
Right, okay. As typical, clouds.
To say, I mean, most astrophotographers, when they're doing solar, lunar, or planetary work, will record video footage and then use a method called lucky imaging. Lucky imaging is basically record as many frames as you can squeeze in a quick succession, and then software will sort through those frames and look for the ones the sharpest and pick those ones out, pick the good ones out, stack them together to give you your image. But the problem with that is you can say, if you're recording a couple of hundred frames per second and you're recording maybe 30 seconds of footage, you can have massive files, and it's quite heavy on computers and it's quite heavy on storage to process that much information. So from the looks of it, Paul's fancy little box with his software means that he still gets those good frames, but it spots them and only gets those ones. So you've got a lot less data to work with, which theoretically, I suppose, would speed up the whole processing time and also save your hard drive from having a heart attack every time you have an imaging session and you're doing a time lapse. I know from my own experience when I've been trying to do solar time lapses, you can fill up your hard drive and then spend about a few hours just transferring it over from one machine to another, depending on how good your Wi-Fi is. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's also probably why Paul has clouds right now, because he's got fancy technology. Paul, your next purchase, by the way, is some kind of automated cloud remover.
Yes,
So
I'm
it
still
looks
waiting
like,
for that one to come along.
so it looks like Russell's got something you've done, Chris.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Ah, yes. This was my attempt at demonstrating the benefits of stacking. I recently had, in this entire month of November, I have had one imaging session because the weather has been that dreadful. But I did manage to image for the first time the Horsehead Nebula. Never seen this before. One of the global star parties I was part of last time around, I thought I had the Horsehead, but I was actually next to it. And it turns out that that's the Horsehead. And this was just a demonstration of stacking. So I was quite impressed by how little noise came out of my final image. So I was quite curious to see how the effects of stacking kind of built up over time. So this shows you it with one frame, which was a 4-minute exposure, and there's a lot of contrast there, but it's very, very grainy, and the fine details are lacking. And then 2 frames, it's quite a dramatic jump from 1 frame to 2 frames. And then as I increase double the frame count each time, the quality, whilst it increases slowly once you get past about 8 frames, the quality improvement really comes into fruition. So stacking, I'm not a patient guy. I'm really not. It's driving me nuts that I've got an almost full moon and clouds. So I'm going to get on and move my image across and start imaging the flame. But stacking is so worth it. And stacking is, for those who aren't really accustomed to the terminology, is basically you take a lot of photos of the same object, and the noise created by either temperature or the electrical system itself is random. So the theory is that you stack images on top of each other, averaging them out between them, and the randomness will disappear, and only the real signal, the real object that's there, will remain. And it really does work, because in the final image, which was just over 2 hours long in terms of capturing it, you can really start to make out the fine details. I've also learned that binning is awesome, because my sensor that I use in my camera here is quite small, and the pixel size is quite small. So it means that I'm oversampling the stars. So basically, I'm trying to capture more than I can really physically get out of the optical system. So binning, I'm halving the resolution, but I'm really increasing the signal-to-noise ratio. So I'm getting much better results, much sharper, crisper stars. They're not all blown out and bloated looking. And yeah, I'm in love with the gear that I've got now. But unfortunately, so are the clouds. Every time I want to get the scope out, they want to have a look too. So yeah, this is the effects of stacking. And my pro advice to anyone doing astrophotography, as long as your data sets stay, as long as you keep a note of what you were doing at the time, it's great. It really is great. Just add, I would say, as a baseline in any one channel of light, if you're imaging monochrome, bare minimal 20 images. And you should get good results. The only problem with that is, of course, it's time consuming, especially if you're doing 20-minute subs. 20 times 20 minutes, that's a lot of work. Especially if you're an idiot like me and you've got a long focal length and a small sensor and you've got to mosaic everything that you ever wanted to image. Yeah, it's time consuming, but it's worth it. And if you are working monochrome and you are working cool, keep notes, keep a record of everything, and you can always come back to the same object a year later. It may drive you crazy, like it drives me crazy, but it is worth it. And the whole set's really pretty. For all of you that are looking at the night sky these days, Orion, I know everyone goes for M42, but there's a lot around it. Have a look. I didn't realize how colourful Orion was until I started imaging narrowband. So yeah, this is a project. I have another 8 hours of capturing panels to complete the mosaic, and then another 12 hours on top of that to capture the oxygen 3 information I want, and then I can get a colour image. So it's going to be a fun project. Although I did work out the rosette would have been a 32-panel mosaic, so I'm glad I'm not doing that one. Big nebula, but. You gotta love the whole set, right? I've never seen it before, but it's.
Mate, I have to say that's a good effort, mate. That is, yeah. I'd be keeping those. I'd be keeping those for future reference, definitely.
I was gonna say I have done 2 panels. So I've got the horse head, and I've got the bit next to it that leads into. Is it Alternate? I can't remember the name of the star now. But I've got that really annoying bright star in the next panel as well, and just the slightest hint of the flame. So I need to do 1 more panel across, and then 3 panels below that, and I should have the whole area in touchwood. I might have clipped the flame a little bit, but I'm not too concerned about that. I'm not adding an extra 2, 4, 6, 12 hours worth of capturing just to finish off the edges. But maybe another year later. And of course, Paul has got calcium K because he's fancying all that. Nice image, Paul.
Yep, it's today's sun too. Might be slightly out of focus by the looks of it, but anyway.
Not much checking.
Yeah. To be honest with you, that looks in focus to me. Although I haven't got any glasses, so don't take my word for it. Yeah, that's pretty good to me. I like the fact that on your hydrogen alpha image, there weren't really any sunspots. Yeah, in calcium K, there are sunspots.
Yes, calcium K and white light show the sunspots quite well.
It's nice. It's a really nice view. I love the way calcium K kind of brings out that kind of really granular look to it. You should use that as a luminance channel on your hydrogen alpha image. That'd be kind of funky looking. I still want you to do blended. I'm sorry. I'm just, you know. It's let's put it this way: if I ever get a calcium K scope, I'm going to give it a go, and then I'm going to blame you entirely for the fact that I'm going to be poor for another year. Actually, if I can reach it, no, I can't reach it. I was going to say I made one modification to my solar scope recently. I now have a dovetail bar on it, so I can put it on this mount without piggybacking it. It's quite funny looking at an NEQ6 with a tiny little 60mm scope on it. It's a little bit OTT. That's a nice image, Paul. At least you're getting some clear skies every now and then. I'm getting a permanent thick blanket of cloud. It sucks.
You need to move, mate.
I know I need to move. I need to find myself a good-looking Australian wife, but, you know, it's kind of hard, especially on the other side of the planet.
Find out where Damien Peach lives and move next door.
Yes, but I might get done for murder. Not that I'm not a big fan of his awesome photos, those little so-and-so. And Russell. Whoa! Okay, that's the moon. And then someone's got 3 glowing lights next to it. Go on then, Russell. What's this?
This is an image from James Parker. It's the moon, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus in the morning sky. Soon to be joined by Comet Catalina.
Yes, Catalina. I can't wait to have a look at it. Well, I can. It rises just barely above the rooftops about 5:30 in the morning, and I'm not doing it to myself. Not yet, anyhow. That's nice. It's very colourful. I have to admit that's a little saturated.
Shot with a DSLR.
I'm used to looking at black and white images these days. It's kind of funky. I like it. Alright, but I'm not. Now, Trev.
Yep.
Would you like to you know? So you got your you got that C8 in the background, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah, and then you've got the other ones. How many scopes do you have now? I'm just trying to figure this one out.
7. I know it's a joke. I have to get rid of some. I've got, starting from the biggest working down, I have a 16-inch go-to Skywatcher. I have a 12-inch go-to. I have a 6-inch, which mounts on my 12-inch, and now I have an C8, and I have a 80mm, and I've got another 60mm, which lives at my sister's place. So. Yes, I know. It's a bad. You remember you talk about you only just you never get rich in this game.
Yeah. I've come to the conclusion that any clouds you get, you have created yourself. Wow, that's a fair few. Jeez, I thought I was about having 3 scopes technically, you know, but you know. I've got my 8-inch, my solar scope, and I've got my old guy scope, which I've kept because I don't know, I might find a use for it. I've never tried to take a photo through it. I don't think it'd be any good for taking a photo through it, especially if I keep whacking it on the scope. So yeah, so I've got my old, what should we call it, Orion, so kind of, you know, this old thing, my my old guide scope, which has been retired because I have got to OAG now.
Oh, actually, I tell a lie. I've got 8. I bought one of those little Skywatcher desktop ones. You know, the ones you sit on your desk and they swivel around. You know those little dobs.
Ay, ay, ay. So basically, you know, if you could have a different filter in each of those scoops, that's a lot of wavelengths of light you could cover right there. Wow. Okay, so 8 scopes. Paul, how many scopes do you have?
Unfortunately, I have 8 too.
Oh, for the love of
And this is the mirror for number 9.
Oh, wow. Oh, yes, I forgot you were doing that. How's that going?
Getting there slowly.
What size is that, mate?
22 inch.
22 inch.
22?
That's going to be a lot of work, mate.
It is.
So, I'm just clicking myself here and have a general public announcement. Ladies and gentlemen of the world, if you're wondering why you're having dreadful weather right now, it's not El Nino, it's not global warming, it's these guys buying ridiculous numbers of telescopes. I do apologize sincerely. Yeah, go on, Russell, please tell me you have less than 8 scopes.
I have right now 6. I had to think for a second.
I thought he was going to say 12 or something.
I have a couple old telescopes. I have a 1971 Sears refractor and a 1965 Tasco 2TE. It's a pocket telescope. It's an oldie.
Wow. So I feel like I need to buy more telescopes. Oh, wow. Okay, so, yeah.
But hasn't he got another one coming? Isn't it that diamond?
Oh yeah, I
one?
have another optical tube. A Skywatcher 130p short tube.
So that'll be 7.
That'll be 7.
So really, technically speaking, you know, in terms of sheer number of telescopes, I'm completely the newbie right now. Good.
I had 12 at one time.
I know this is, ladies and gentlemen, people that are watching, this is an expensive hobby. It is only compounded by the fact that if you're a kleptomaniac, oh wow. But I have to wonder though. So Paul, obviously you're making some gigantic beast in which you're going to lure all the clouds of the planet over with. How many of your scopes are ever active? Like, how many are you actually using simultaneously?
If I'm viewing the sun, I use 3.
Yeah, I'll give you that. You know, 3. Just a couple of redundancies in the background. That's incredible. Is this a case? Oh, I have to ask everyone here now. Is this a case of you have simply, you know, bought scopes and improved your gear and just not sold the old ones, or are you actually just kleptomaniacs?
That's a good question.
I rescue them from the buy and sell.
You
I
feel
can't
sorry
resist. I see one for sale and it's like, I gotta buy it. I have to buy it.
Well, I mean, I saw that C9. I think 9.25. It's not a proper like size. It's a weird one from Celestial. But I saw a C9, whatever it is, in that.
9.25.
I saw that in that the second-hand shop across from where I work. It was actually it was a bargain, until unfortunately the police took it back since it's a stolen telescope. But yeah, which always makes me slightly twitchy when I have my telescope out in the backyard and I go to bed and fall asleep. But yeah, that was a bargain actually. They had that on for £890 because I don't think they knew what they had. So no, that's pretty cheap.
That's really cheap. Yes. That's the same. That'll be the same tube that Dylan's running at the present. I think the 9.25 inch.
Yeah. I think that's the one, isn't it? So Paul, that's not the sun.
No. Well, it's reflected sunlight, so it's sort of the sun.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Was this recent?
22nd.
Just before it went all full and horrible on us.
Yes.
Sorry, Russell, I know you love the moon, but right now it's a pain in the rear end. Nice and sharp picture. Is this a mosaic or is this single shot?
I think it was 6-panel mosaic.
Nice. It's a good phase to catch it in. There's some lovely sharp details there. That's one of my favourite things about the looking at the moon, and just off the edge there, when you see bits of it jutting out into space, it really gives it that kind of. I just like that. It's one of those things that I have to say, whenever I show people the moon through the telescope and they look at the edge and they're like, "Is that a mountain sticking off the moon?" It's like, "Yep, the moon's covered in mountains. It's just because you're looking at it edge on." But that's cool. What camera are we using to take this?
There's my little Grasshopper 3.
Nice camera. Very nice camera indeed. Craters. I love that collapsed wall. I can never remember the name of the crater. Upper left-hand side. Nice kind of collapsed section that's kind of crumbled in over the eons. Yeah, nice sharp image. I'm assuming seeing was really good. Your mad stacking skills came into play.
Wasn't too bad that night.
So nice crisp results. I know. I diss the moon at the moment because I want to do deep sky. I mean, technically speaking, with hydrogen alpha, the moon's not too much of an issue, but it's still a pain, especially when it's right in the constellation you're trying to image. For those of you who aren't aware of celestial goings on right now, the moon is pretty full and it's in Orion right now. And for your Star Trek horoscopy kind of people, that means we're all going to die. They're made up. Russell, that looks like sunspots. What we're looking at?
That is Solar Active Region 2192 from October 2014. I didn't even know I had this shot. I was sorting through some old data and found this sub and stacked it the other day, and this is what I pulled out.
Nice. It's always nice looking through old data. Especially
Huge.
Especially when you've learnt new tricks, and that is huge. I was just going to say that is a very large region.
It's massive. It was the biggest one in 25 years.
You see, I almost tempted to go, "Hey, Paul, have you got that in your archives?" That is lovely. I've just realised though that as I'm leaning in to get a nice close look at it, the audience are getting a very big shot of my forehead in the camera. I mean, some nice. I mean, that looks quite a complex sunspot. Because I mean, sunspots they have this pairing up from one side of the magnetic field to the other. But I mean, that's got quite a few nodes in it. It's nice and complex.
It was one of the more beautiful sunspot regions in the last while.
I can say I do miss last year. There was some nice sunspots. I did get a couple of views of it, but I've only had that. I was going to say I've had the solar scope 2 years now. I'm still learning and what have you with it, but that's nice. It really is very nice. How many years now until we get back to solar maximum? Is it every 11 years or something?
Yeah, roughly that.
Oh, well, I'll only be 44. It'll be fine. Yes. By the way, just a subtle hint to the world. My birthday's next month. So if someone wants to buy me Hubble, I'm, just saying. It's nice. So Trevor, you're going to have to invest in the solar scope. You're going to have to add to the scope collection.
Yes, I'm definitely looking into that. It just means a few more weeks without dinner on the table.
Yep. Yeah. Astronomer's favourite diet: beans on toast. Paul, I'm going to guess that wasn't a shooting star.
That was a meteor, yes.
That was? Whoa, that was a big one. I thought that was an ISS pass from the looks of it, but that's... Wow. Okay, when was this?
There's a single 10-second frame from earlier in the month. So the ISS would have taken a couple of minutes to get across that stretch of sky.
So that's an incredibly big tail. I mean, normally I'm used to when I'm doing an all-sky cam, you know, it takes up, you know, a small fraction of the image plane, but that's huge. Did you actually get to see that one with your own eyeballs, or was that one of those you kind of saw it later with the camera?
No, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning while I was sleeping.
The benefits of an all-sky cam. Actually, Paul, maybe you could just tell our audience how you get this picture, and what setup you've got here.
Yep, this is just a cheap ASI camera with a fisheye lens on it. It's just stuck in a box with a little glass lid out the garden.
How are you combating the whole dewing up problem? Well, I mean, I get it in this country. I stick something out there for about 10 minutes and that's covered.
Yeah, just got a little heater just under the glass just to keep it warm.
Nice. And that's a real benefit because I mean, I have an ASI camera with a little screw-in fisheye lens, and it's quite. I mean, it's a lovely sensitive camera for the price. It's a really good camera. It's a great way of capturing everything. Although I don't recognise a single constellation in that image. Or maybe I do.
Of course you do. This one up at the top here.
That's Orion, isn't it?
It is.
Now, see, now the image is making sense, because the bright dot there would be Sirius, and somewhere in there is Monoceros and all the others. Alright, now I get it. It's just the orientation. That skewed me off for a bit. Because, as you're looking at... So, in the southern hemisphere, you're looking at Orion. See, for me, Betelgeuse, or Betelgeuse, whatever it's called, will be, as I'm facing the object, the top left-hand side, with 3 stars going up. Then you saw... Which way around is it orientated for you when you're looking at it? Was it just flipped like the moon is for you as well? Or was it...
It's upside down.
Yeah.
Just doing your handstand across the sky.
Yeah. You think that actually, you know, I suppose Orion really doesn't work when he's upside down. It becomes difficult to shoot a bow or hold a shield. I don't remember which one he's meant to be doing. I don't know. That's nice. And that's your current view, I'm guessing.
Yes.
It's not so starry. And ooh, all right, Russell. What are we looking at here?
Oh, that's one of my scopes. One of the sticks I have.
I thought it might have been one of the ones he salvaged.
Yeah.
That an 8-inch Dobsonian. The smartphone adapter allows me to attach my cell phone, and it allows me to push 2 objects using Sky, the Sky app, not the Google Sky, but SKEYE. And once it's aligned, it's pretty accurate. It'll take you to pretty much just tell you where to push the scope. It's pretty neat.
That's cool. I was going to say, I have velcroed my telephone to the back of my tube for a star party once, so I was moving the scope around, people get a rough idea without having to look at the viewfinder land. Right. That's a thin little tube. What on earth is that?
That is 1971 Sears Discoverer, 60mm f13.
F13. What gets me is you can tell it's a 1970s scope, and I don't mean to be mean to the 1970s, but that color green is awful.
It totally is.
That is such a 70s colour right there, that kind of grey, aqua green. What you need though is to pose next to that with an epic moustache and and a polyester suit.
I have a suit that color from the
Oh,
70s. I do.
wow.
I really do. With the big lapels and the bell bottoms.
That's a profile picture just waiting to happen right there.
I'll have to
Yeah,
regrow my mutton chops.
Yes.
that suit and the scope taken together, you'd have a good picture.
And I'm also thinking with modern day Instagram filters, you can make that fully look 70s. Oh, that's brilliant. They don't make scopes like that anymore. Well, if they do, well, see that's what everyone thinks a scope should look like. That's generally speaking when you ask a member of the public what a telescope looks like, that's what they will draw.
Exactly.
They wouldn't draw, well, the thing I've got behind my head, or pools set up with multiple tubes and wires and cables coming out. That's fantastic.
Chris, is it okay if I share a photo from one of the club members down here in Melbourne that they took of the moon?
Yeah, go for it.
The only reason why I want to share it because it's a fantastic shot. It was taken with a 16-inch, pretty much the same thing I've got, but he's done it in full colour, and it looks very impressive.
Cool. I look forward to seeing it. Most people do photograph the moon and kind of, whoa. Wow. Okay, I'm impressed.
Yep, and you can actually see all the blast marks and all that on the craters as well. It stands out very well.
It's amazing.
So that was done on a 16-inch Skywatcher with a I think it's the same monochrome camera, the DMK I think that Paul uses. He's just using RGB filters to actually generate this one.
It's beautiful.
Incredible.
But when I seen that image, I thought to myself that is a beautiful image of the moon.
That is the best colour photo I have seen of the moon, period. That is ridiculous.
That was taken in Melbourne. That was taken in Melbourne in Victoria, and that was, like I said, done on a 16-inch go-to Dob.
If they ever do manage to get around to landing back on the moon within our lifetime, which they're meant to, but this is NASA, it'll be delayed forever. They really ought to land there. The minerals there must be fantastic for sampling. And I mean, that crater stands out so blue, and then you've got that kind of black, almost like burn mark around.
Yeah. I found that pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, that's.
But anyway, just to give you some idea what some of the club members are doing. And well, there's 950 plus members, so I guess someone's got to do something good.
It's like lucky imaging. That's incredible. Well, if that club member, wants to do some live stuff, just let him know. Because we are looking for astronomers for the show. So and
No, mate, I'm putting the feelers out there. I'm giving them hints.
I'd skip giving them hints and just kidnap them. I mean, persuade. That's fantastic. I could look at that for hours. Yeah, that is seriously impressive. Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
No worries, mate.
And Paul. Now, I know what this is, and every amateur astronomer in the world knows what this is, but I'm going to let you tell us what this is.
This would be the Orion Nebula.
And a little bit of the Running Man. That is, yeah, I love that nebula. If I ever get round to finishing the Hall's Head, that's the next target for this winter, but we'll see. That's lovely. When did you take this?
This is from October.
I like it a lot. Of course, this is This is a small window, a small hole into the massive Orion molecular cloud. And sat in the middle of that, powering its beautiful glowiness, is the trapezium, or 4 relatively new stars. 4 relatively new massive stars as well, I believe. I think they're O-type. I can't remember, but I love that nebula. If you have a pair of binoculars or a scope and you're looking towards Orion's belt, just below his belt is his sword, and there's 3 little, I use the word loosely, stars dropping from it, and the middle one of those stars is not a star, it's that. If you live in really clear, dark conditions, you can actually make it out with the naked eye, this kind of purple fuzzy patch, but with a pair of binoculars, and also especially a telescope, this is quite the impressive thing to look at. Now, what wavelength were you capturing this in?
It's in hydrogen alpha.
I have to say, hydrogen alpha really does bring out some very fine detail.
And it's just a single 8-minute exposure because those pesky clouds decided to move it.
Well, for an 8-minute exposure, that's pretty. There's not much noise there at all. That's pretty impressive. Was there any binning involved in this, or was this just a straight
No,
shot?
this is straight.
You're not over-assembling the stars like I am then. So you've got some nice crisp brown stars. That's a lovely object. Yeah, the Orion Nebula, M42. It's a pretty object. And the Running Man. Actually, the Running Man's quite nice as well. There was actually, I can't remember now, you guys might be able to help me out with this one. If we orientated this round so it was stood on its end, so the Running Man was at the top of the screen, somewhere upper left there's another nebula, quite a faint one. I think it's like M70 something or other, but it's often overlooked. The entire constellation is just alive with some great stuff. In fact, which brings me, I will have to, let's see if I can find it. My filter screen. Yes. There it is. Ooh, I'll tell you one thing. I'm trying to run the Google Hangout plus use a web browser at the same time. It's really, really hurting my laptop today. Bless it. It's feeling a bit old. Let's just see if I can get. There we go. All right. Oh, whoa. Okay. Clearly a mosaic. Nice. When did you take this, or is this just an ongoing project?
I think that was last year. I think that's on one of those robotic scopes somewhere in the world.
Ah.
That's cheating. Yeah.
It's a good cheat, though. Come on, it's a good cheat. That's nice. You've got the Running Man in there, you've got the Orion Nebula. I'm assuming that's just sensor noise on the bottom left. I don't know unless that is part of Bernard's loop. Loop, something or other. It's nice. There you go, Paul. There's a challenge for you. In hydrogen alpha alone, mosaic the entire Orion constellation.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was going to say that with my setup, that'd be about a 90 million panel mosaic. At least yours might be, a few hundred. And of course, Trevor has the same object as well. Check that out. Is this one of yours, Trev?
Oh, I wish, mate. No, that's another club member.
Pretty badass club.
This guy actually. Well, this guy's taken these shots. He's won some awards with Epson. Epson, the printer makers and all those. Yeah, he's won some gold and silver awards for a lot of his deep sky imaging. And this is one of them. If you see, I think you can see the date. I think it's taken 2014.
The Orion Nebula is beautiful. It really is.
But it's another very nice shot.
Yeah. And Oh, wait a minute. How big is this?
What are you playing with there, Paul?
Holy. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 by 5. That's an insane mosaic. What are we looking at?
That is the region around Eta Carina. Just sort of a test image once. I did one night. 2600-second hydrogen alphas.
Ooh, count the number of stars in that image.
It's a bit of work there, mate. How many hours, Paul?
I don't know.
He lost count. That's ay. I mean, the number of stars in that picture alone is. Can you imagine if DSS was stacking that as a single image? You'd be like, how many stars have I found? Good grief. So yes,
it's one mean feat, I have to say.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned earlier how stacking really brings out, the detail and can be very, very time-consuming. Astrophotography is just time-consuming.
No, this is actually stacked. These are all single images.
Which is insane as well. Actually, to be fair, in this image right now, in the middle top, you've got this kind of dark triangle, and then to the right of that, I swear down, I can see like a face. I'm getting that whole.
Oh yes, I mean, yeah, face with the light on the nose.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I can see that. You sort of see the lips, the eye.
What's that singer that had the big hair and the lightning across his face? It looks like him. I can't. Oh, who is it now? That's going to drive me nuts.
Wasn't Gary Glitter, was it?
No. It's going to drive me crazy. That's brilliant. And that does look like a face.
Exactly. It does look like a face, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Paul, that's insane.
It's good that we can both see that, mate. Pick that face out.
Yeah.
Quick.
It both means that we have the same kind of weird inner workings in our brain. That is amazing, Paul. That's ridiculous. And Russell, what are we looking at here?
It's the crater Copernicus and the Apennine Mountains.
I went skiing there once.
What? Been on the moon, like Copernicus.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it, just no atmosphere. Whoa, that's pretty cool. When did you take this, Russell?
Pardon?
When did you take this one?
Last week, last Friday, I believe.
I'm glad some of you guys had some clear sky. Yeah.
I take too many pictures. I don't know when I take them.
Yeah. I wish I could say that. I really wish I could say. And I'm assuming this is also around Eta Carina.
Yep, that's the middle part. It's not a mosaic, it's just a single field of view. Luminance RGB.
See, I've decided that once I've completed my horsehead mosaic, I'm going to start looking for small targets, like M1. There's things I can fit in a single frame. Because, I mean, that's beautiful. Oh, I have to admit, I love. You've got some nice star color in there. So, is this what filters did you use then for this one?
Just standard luminance, red, green, blue.
Interesting if you threw in some HA. I can never get star color when I'm doing LRGB. I think I'm overexposing myself together. I have a real hard time getting star color. But I do have a project this year of, so I photographed M51, which is the Global Galaxy, a few years back with SLR. Really proud of the image, but it's incredibly noisy. So now I'm going to use the cool camera, the CCD, and I really want to get some star color in there as well for like some of the surrounding stars. So I need to practice getting that. I'm thinking really short exposures. I don't know, but that's cool. Any tips from you guys when it comes to, for me, trying to get some star color, and for our audience?
Just don't over-process.
Fair play. Ooh, comet. Is this the legendary Catalina, or is this another one?
It is the one that's heading your way.
I can't wait. For all us northern sky people, Catalina is this comet that is magnitude, I think it's about magnitude 4.5 at the moment. So pretty bright, but it doesn't get above our horizon until about 5:30 in the morning in the UK. So it's beginning to get a bit lighter, and it's very low on the horizon even by that time. So a few more months, and it will be a bit dimmer, but it'll be much higher up. So I think it'll be a lot easier to spot and hopefully photograph. Again, I've never tried to photograph a comet with a telescope, so I've got no idea how to do that. So that'll be fun. Challenge for everyone. It's pretty cool. Paul, you always bring in the awesome. Even if it's not live, you still bring the awesome. I sometimes suspect that you don't actually have, like, you send a clone of yours into work and you just hide out in the telescope all day long and all night.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, I wish that too. And Russell, you have more moon.
This is the Sea of Clouds, which I have this morning.
I think that's almost an appropriate image to end on right there. Sea of Clouds, yeah. Otherwise known as Earth's atmosphere. Ooh, that's showing two tails. Nice picture, Paul. Really nice. And I'm curious, how long was this taken over?
That would be 20 times 120 seconds.
Yeah.
You can probably tell by counting little dots of the stars.
Yeah. There are different stacking methods, aren't there, for trying to get comets and what have you.
Yeah, this one was tracked on the nucleus. This one, the stars are moving.
Does it? I'm going to have to ask you at some point. I'm going to have to have a conversation about trying to photograph comets and the different methods and how-tos on it, because I do want to get Catalina this year / next year. So nice, really, really nice. I could stare at these pictures for hours. Anyhow, believe it or not, we managed to make a show that was an hour long, and hey, even though there were clouds. So thank you for putting up with us and the lack of live views today. Although we definitely had some interesting not so live views, some great pictures, especially from of course the guys and Trevor's club members. Those are some epic photos. So yeah, just Trev, just lay out some hints to them that she can join us and do some live stuff. Touch wood. I'm going to say touch wood, and there is a table below me, so touch wood. Next week's show will be the nighttime / sleepy Brit edition of the show, where it's daylight in the southern hemisphere and dark in the northern hemisphere, and very dark in the northern hemisphere because the sun sets around 4:30 in the afternoon at the moment and doesn't come back up again until about 6 a.m. So plenty of dark skies, just plenty of clouds. However, I'm not trusting the Met Office here. The weather is meant to be getting clearer towards the end of next week, so fingers crossed. I might get some clear skies, and my rotor might allow me as well to be live and not falling to sleep the next day at work. So we will be doing that show, hopefully some live views. Going to try and wrangle some of our American astronomers to come and join us and share some live views. But we are really, really looking at the moment for some astronomers to join us on the show. Because, well, it can't be cloudy everywhere on the planet at the same time unless, well, an asteroid's hit or nuclear winter's set in. Generally speaking, there's got to be a gap somewhere, and the more astronomers we have on board, the more chance we have of finding a gap and someone that can share us some live views. The Flickr group, of course, is a great place to check out some of the stuff that we're producing and all the people that contribute as well. Some great stuff coming in. So if you check out the Global Star Party on Flickr, some really epic photos people are submitting, well worth checking out. Some really beautiful stuff. So if you are suffering from clouds, you can at least look at stuff in the night sky on that. You can follow us on Twitter, where we tweet out some of these pictures, stuff that we're doing. Paul is Lord of Twitter, so he's the expert with that kind of stuff. And you can check us out on Google+. You can obviously look up Global Star Party, where we post events. Although Google has recently made a rather genius decision of changing the design and maybe having removed events from the network. So we're not sure what the crack is with that. Whilst Google Classic exists, we can still put these events in, put them out, and of course Hangouts still exists, and so these shows can still continue. It's just getting them advertised and people knowing about them may be a bit trickier in the future. So if you would like to tag Google as much as possible, complaining about their awful decision-making skills when it comes to controlling their social network, feel free. I am going to continuously moan and complain about it. That might hear if enough of us do it. Who knows? But needless to say, the Global Star Party will continue regardless, and hopefully we get some clear skies. Who knows if Trevor would stop buying every telescope he ever encounters. You know, I'm not blaming you. Normally I blame Paul, of course, for not sacrificing enough goats, but this time around I decided it's your fault, Trevor.
Fair enough.
So I shall let everyone say goodbye, and then hopefully we shall see you guys next week. Hopefully some live views. I do apologise, but unfortunately I don't quite have the power I would like to control the weather. Although I'm willing to give it a go. I will sell things for it. Right then, Trevor, thank you for joining us.
That's all right.
I'm going to actually quickly ask, is that another one of those colour pictures from your Doodah Club?
Well, it was. Hang on a second. This is the helmet section area of the moon, and that's another colour shot.
You see, I always photograph the moon in black and white. Maybe I should start giving it a go in colour. Well, thank you, Trevor, for sharing epic photos and joining us. Always appreciated, dude.
No problem.
Thank you to Russell for joining us from coldest, darkest Canada.
No problem.
Yeah, cheers for that, dude. And yeah, fingers crossed you get some clear skies. And well, you love the moon much more than I do, so hopefully some epic moon shots coming from you in the future.
Hopefully so.
And how's the outer solar system exploration going? Getting used to deep sky?
It's a lot of fun. It's I've been just doing a lot of surfing with the camera. It's just you could spend like weeks just wandering around. Once you start shooting short exposures, you see more than you've ever seen visually. It's pretty addictive, actually. Yep,
that's the one thing I will say about astronomy. It's addictive. Well, enjoy surfing the stars, and I want to see some nice globular clusters. Just you know, in the next few months, I want to see a nice stacked globular cluster out of you. Just no pressure. And of course, Paul, who is champion of holding the show when I disappear because of work and everything else, and just champion of photographing epic stuff from his secret bunker in New Zealand. Cheers for joining us, dude.
Yep, good to have you back.
Well, I've been trying and failing, and for once I succeeded. I just unfortunately had Cloud with me, but it's always good to be here, and thank you for filling in the gaps when I've not been around. And, well, that's an epic view comet. So, yes. Everyone in the north, get ready for Comet Catalina. Get ready for next year, because we've got transit of Mercury coming up as well, if you're in the northern hemisphere. Sorry, Paul. Well, there's some pretty awesome stuff in the night sky this time of year. We've got Jupiter and Mars slowly but surely getting to a more reasonable time to have a look at them, but you can see them nice and early in the morning, along with Venus. So if you're out first thing, you can probably spot a couple of planets and a comet, which is not a bad start to a winter. Hopefully, all the American astronomers have, stopped having turkey sweats by the time next week rolls around, and will be fit and ready to go to image for us. And thank you to everyone who watched this evening, or this morning, or whatever time it is for you. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week, hopefully with some live views. Cross your fingers, folks, and please get the word out. Let them know we're looking for astronomers to share views with. And well, thank you for joining us. Toodaloo.
See you later.